decay. Sounds cliche, but I drank my mind away. Disobey, destroy and disarray. And I don't care, you blow my head away. Well, I can't decide, should I dance or should I die? I can't decide. Well, I can't decide, should I dance or should I die? I can't decide. Should I dance or should I die? It's no use, I'm tying my own noose. But so you know, I'll haunt you everywhere you go. Well, I can't decide, should I dance or should I die? I can't decide. Well, I can't decide, should I dance or should I die? I can't decide. Should I dance or should I die? Should I dance or should I die? Should I dance or should I die? Well, I can't decide, should I dance or should I die? I can't decide. Well, I can't decide, should I dance or should I die? I can't decide. Well, I can't decide, should I dance or should I die? I can't decide.
Yeah, somebody a while ago suggested that I did a video on drones. They were thinking of getting one and didn't know anything about it. And whilst I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, I've had drones for a couple of years now. I've used them in my YouTube vlogs, which you might have seen. Certainly this isn't a technical all singing, all dancing appraisal of drones. It's just a general rough guide for novices, beginners, people who are just thinking about getting a drone and having a clue about what to get or how to use them. So yeah, I'm up in the forest in my camper at the moment, and I generally use drones for van life, outdoorsy videos. You might have seen some of my wild walks, van life. I hope to do some more. There's a postman just gone by. I hope to do some more wild camping this year. But what should you get, and what is your genre or your field of interest, as it were? So starters, most people on YouTube who are doing outdoorsy videos, doing van life videos, are using DJI drones. There's a lot of drones out there, a lot of drone makers, Parrot and etc. But DJI are, I mean, they've sewn up the market because they're just great drones. And so what would you start with? Well, basically there's 4 DJI drones which are most popular and which fall into the outdoorsy, van life, etc. field. They are the DJI Maverick, the Mavic Air, the Phantom range, starting with the standard up to the professional, and the little DJI Spark. So basically you just got 4 drones to get your head round, so that lessens the complications a bit. So what did I start with? Well, I started with a Phantom, like a lot of people. The DJI Phantom 3 standard is probably one of the most popular entry-level serious drones, you can get, a few years ago, everybody was using Phantoms. You'd see people with them strapped to their backs on YouTube videos. You see people hacking away at the polystyrene cases to stuff them into their rucksacks, and there you might have spotted a flaw in the Phantoms. This is my Phantom 3 standard, which this is the second one. The first one crashed, so I'll come on to crashing drones later. Now this is an excellent all-round drone. It takes up to 2.7K footage. Although most people are using YouTube, on YouTube videos will use 1080. Most, even experts, the big YouTubers, will tell you 1080 is more than you need, more than enough. You know, a lot of people shoot in 4K. Gives you more versatility in editing, but you don't really need more than 1080. And it's a bit of a beast. But it's a very reliable machine. Once you learn the basics, it's fairly easy to fly. Loads of accessories. It takes pretty good footage. Oh, very good footage actually. And these are incredibly popular drone. But and there he is, and that's the controller, which is again, I haven't got the rack thing on the top where the phone or tablet goes in my case, but again, a bit of a beast. So that's the Phantom. Now, why are Phantoms becoming less popular? That is the Spark. I mean, look at that. Now that will take comparable footage with the Phantom, and look at it, it's so tiny, absolutely minuscule. You can just pop that, look at the case, pop that in your rucksack, no bother. Look at the control, tiny control. Look at the Phantom control, no comparison. So you find there's a lot of Phantoms coming on the market right now, because a lot of people are switching to the Mavics and the Sparks, because if they're doing wild camping, you don't want to be lugging a beast like the Phantom around with you. And very versatile, footage is great, but the Mavics are popular, and I would say, if you're a novice, do you need a Mavic at this moment in time? Now the Mavics are about £1,000. They're brilliant, all singing, all dancing drones. Technically they're fantastic. They've got a great range, battery life is great, the footage is stunning. But if you're a beginner, do you want to risk £1,000 drone? Because you do crash them. And you have a look at the YouTube videos and people saying, I've just lost my drone, I've only had it 24 hours, my Mavic flew away. Well, you will lose, you can lose drones, and if you're a beginner, you don't want to spend £1,000 and watch it disappear into a lake or into a forest. Because a common problem with the drones is battery failure. You overestimate the battery life in them, take them too far, and by the time you return, it hasn't got the power to get back to you. I've had so many cases of people losing drones through battery failure, and it's a battle of wits. They're just looking at their screens and thinking, have I got enough to get back? No, quite often they don't. So that you come into the Mavic Airs then. Mavic Airs have only come out in the last 12 months. They're a much smaller version, hardly any bigger than the Spark. Again, everyone says, oh, fantastic drone, one of the best drones for van life, wilderness, whatever footage you can get, but they're £800, so the same applies to the Mavic Pro. Do you need to spend that much money if you're a beginner? I'd say not really. You know, you may graduate onto one, you might become really big, like a Casey Neistat or somebody, but and get to millions of followers. So it's hardly likely if you're in van life world. But yeah, you might graduate to one, but I think in the short term, I don't think you really need to go beyond the Phantoms or the Sparks. So why get a Phantom? Well, Phantoms are, because they're being superseded by small drones like the Spark, they're becoming pretty plentiful on the market. And of course, a lot of people buy them in cities, and they don't really realise the restrictions you've got. Well, I'm in the UK, in Wales, and we've got restrictions, as in most countries. You can't fly them in urban areas, in parks, public places. There's loads of restrictions, and you can get fined, you can get your drone stolen, not stolen, confiscated, taken by the police. So a lot of people buy them in cities on a whim, think, oh great, I'll go and fly my drone. And then you realise that they can't just take it into a park and fly it. They've got to drive miles into the country, find somewhere to fly it, and it becomes a bit of a pain. And they give up, and they come on the market, and sometimes they've only been used a couple of times. And I've seen so many on eBay, on Facebook Marketplace, that are coming up and only used 3 times, almost new. And you can pick a Phantom standard up for a couple £100 now. So it depends what you want to do. If you're going to do van life and you're just going to drive somewhere, you want to send it up, take some footage of the surroundings, or perhaps even if you don't mind, on a nice day walking with a. I mean, this is my case. It's if you've seen other videos, it's a bit. Oh, look at that! I mean, it's bloody huge. Look at that! Look at that! You know, it's you can manage it if you're just going for a walk, and it's a nice day and you don't want to take loads of clothes and food and cookers and all the rest of it. You're just taking a drone. Well, that's fine. You can manage with a bum bag around your waist for extras, I suppose. But you really, it's fine for that sort of stuff, of just shooting around your van or taking it not too far. But if you're going to go backpacking or wild camping, or you're going to spend a few days away in the wilds, you don't want that bloody thing. It's just a pain in the arse taking something like that. You want something small, so Spark or the Mavic Air or Mavic Pro. But it goes back to what I was just saying. You don't really, if you're a novice, you don't really want to spend £1,000 or £800 on a super duper, high-tech drone, which you could risk losing, and you don't need it at the moment. I'm not saying my videos I hope they're getting better from what they were with my editing, etc., and I hope to improve, but I'm still learning with drones, and I generally don't do anything too fancy with them. I've tried active track with the van, and it doesn't work brilliantly sometimes. You've got to go drive very slowly. You've got to pick the road. You can't go somewhere where it's busy, obviously. And so I don't really bother with all the fancy stuff, which they can do, all the different elements, like way marking, and following way marks, and the circular thing, which I can't even think the name of at the moment, and active track. Active track's quite useful when you're on foot, actually. I think the Spark's a brilliant drone. This came from, I was going on about the grey market. This was bought from East Central UK, I think they're called, and it was a lot cheaper, £200 cheaper than you can get in other places, in the big dealers. It's been fine. It came, I think they come from China or Hong Kong or somewhere. It came in a week, and it's been fine, no problems with it, no complaints. This camera, the Canon, I'm filming this on, came from the same place, and that was fine. So you can pick them up now for about, with the controller, $450, I think you can get them for. I think this was about $350, and the controller was an extra £100, and that's another thing. You use a smartphone or a tablet to do all the control. You fly them with joysticks, but you use a phone or a tablet to do all the changing the elements, to change all the photographic aperture and speed and everything, or just have it in auto calibration. All the sort of technical stuff is done on your phone or tablet. So you can fly the Spark as you can with other drones with just your iPhone or tablet, but that I wouldn't advise that. It's bloody useless. The range is terrible with virtual joysticks on your phone. I think it's about 300 feet, 100 meters or something. With a controller, I think the range is about a mile or something. Not that you'd want to go a mile. I think by law, I think you're supposed to keep them within line of sight. So not to let them out your sight. And something tiny like that, you can easily lose them in the sun. I've been out even with the bigger Phantom, and I've lost it. Like, what the bloody hell is that? I can hear it, but I can't see it. So you don't want to go too far, but you want a bit more range than an iPhone or tablet will give you with virtual controls. So don't bother just buying a drone and not getting a controller. Always get a controller. And always avoid clones. There's loads of videos out there with Mavic Killer and Spark Killer, and they're advertising Chinese crap, basically. People say, oh yeah, this is about 80 quid and it's as good as a Mavic. They're not. You go to the experts who are out there on YouTube, they're testing them, and they'll say, this is a bloody load of crap. So avoid cheap. You get what you pay for. Avoid cheap Chinese crap. The clones, the copies, the garbage, and you just waste your money. You'll just lose them. So my advice would be stick to DJI. 4 drones to consider: the Mavics, 2 Mavics, the Phantom, and the Spark. Get a second-hand Phantom 3 standard if you're just beginning, because you can get one cheap, and you'll probably get one that's had hardly any use, so it'll be as new. It's a good starter. If you're going to do wild camping videos and you plan to backpack, etc., get a Spark. I mean, they're brilliant. The only limitation on Spark is the battery life. They say 14 minutes. I don't think it's anywhere above 10, really. So I have a couple of spare batteries. I've got 1 spare battery at the moment. And the batteries are not cheap. They're about 50 quid. But you'll need them. If you're going for a few days in the wilds and you want to take lots of drone footage, then you'll need at least one spare battery, because that will give you 20 minutes, a bit more perhaps, footage, and that's enough. If you're making a vlog, an episode, that's usually enough in there. So the Phantoms for van life, second-hand, probably as good idea. Save your money because you can get some good ones. The Spark if you're backpacking, wild camping, and then if you're good, if you get lots of followers, then get a Mavic by all means. By then, hopefully, you'll have learnt the ropes, and you're less likely to lose your drone, and that's expensive. As I say, I lost my first Phantom when it threw a prop. I was at home, and luckily it came down in the next field, but it snapped off the gimbal, the camera, and it's heartbreaking when you're from about 200 feet up and you see it freewheeling down, and you're furiously trying to stop it and pressing controls, thinking what the hell's happening, and it's just spinning out of control, and just bang, gone. So that was sold for spares and repair, and I got another one pretty soon after. But if I was buying now, knowing what I know now, a bit more experience, I'd probably just stick to the Spark for the time being. So I would say get a drone if you're into sort of outdoor stuff, even if you're not doing a YouTube channel. It's good for a video diary. Just recording stuff when you're out. It adds another dimension. It's a flying camera, isn't it? So get a drone, but don't spend a lot of money initially, and just practice in the open space, because I'm in the forest now, and so many people lose their drones in forests. So I hope this helps, and I've got lots of more videos planned this year, so I'll just get the van up and running again after winter, so a few more van life videos in the next few months, and some wild walks, maybe even some rock climbing. So keep in touch. See ya.